All right, what's up, everyone? Here we are back for hole number 6. We'll take our first look at this one. Now, the way that I play this has always been kind of wind specific. I usually like the side winds a little bit more than the headwind. So let's see what it looks like here. So this is definitely one of my least favorite winds. I'll typically go with a rock when they do set it up. I brought both just in case. But the reason that this is so hard, you usually end up dipping down into that bunker. It makes the ball land short. You got to keep the ball guide kind of going through the hole and long a little bit. So you can see that's kind of the best that I'm trying to do here. You can see with how my ball guide is kind of positioned through. Other than that, I'll typically go 1 per, maybe just a little bit strong of that. So maybe just a little bit more than 7.2 rings. 7.3, 7.4, somewhere in there. You can also see how the ball guide was kind of positioned long and left. What ends up happening is it usually ends up deflecting just a little bit more than it shows. Now, it is coming in just a little bit hot. Need to maybe just crank up that spin. But overall, it doesn't look too bad because if you're counting grids here, I'm really on line with the hole. So overall, that really wasn't too bad, other than the fact that it just came in too hot. Because you can see that I got, if you're looking at the grids, I'm right behind the hole. So the adjustment and ball guide offset really isn't that bad. The biggest issue there is it's just coming in just a little bit too hot. Now, I wasn't sure how much, especially dipping into that bunker, it was going to kind of check up. I didn't really get to, too low into the sand. But this one definitely is going to. Now, I didn't watch his spin, but you'll see that he's going to have to dip well into the sand. So this typically ends up landing much shorter when you do this. That looks a little bit aggressive there. That looked over 11 rings. You can typically play pretty close to 1 per here. Imagining this is a little bit of an overplay, but you'll see that, that ball guide is definitely kind of shortening up a little bit. So you can see, the more that you get into that bunker, the more that ball guide is just going to kind of land, that second and third hop are going to land kind of shorter. And that's what I was kind of banking on, but I also didn't get as low into the bunker as my opponent did. So you'll have to keep that in mind. Just a little bit more backspin. It's not going to take much more, 3.5 maybe, 3.75 moving forward. Should give you a really good chance to make that. You'll see that your ball guide offset, is kind of a little bit counterintuitive to what you would typically think, because most guys you're thinking, kind of keep it to the right and, it's going to kind of deflect left. It doesn't really do that on holes where you're landing on side hills and putting all that right spin on into a headwind. What ends up typically happening is it just ends up cutting faster, kind of at a higher rate, and it condenses down and then just kind of kicks more to the right because of that wind effect kind of making the ball kind of compress a little bit. And it ends up just kind of turning right faster because of all that side spin plus headwind that's kind of restricting it down. So, keep that in mind and just focus on getting that dialed in, and best of luck.